Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're moving directly into a subject that sits right at that intersection of finance and, well, mental health. Mm-hmm. It's this quiet, really intense struggle that so many of you face with building an emergency fund.
It's something people don't talk about.
They don't.
Yeah.
For a huge part of the population, saving isn't a goal. It's, a source of really profound stress and even shame.
Huge source, yeah.
So today our mission is to address this head on. And this isn't just going to be another lecture on budgeting.
No, not at all.
This is a deep dive. We're getting into the emotional and the psychological barriers that really prevent stability.
And it's the practical steps.
And the gentle practical steps to move you from feeling just completely broke to feeling, well, comfortably buffered. We're building that first crucial layer, starting with just the first $100.
That first 100 is everything.
It really is.
Yeah.
So if you're listening right now and you feel that familiar anxiety gripping you, that voice in your head that says, I literally don't have enough to save anything, or maybe
I've tried and I always fail.
I always fail. I must be irresponsible. I need you to pause. Just take a slow, deep breath. Inhale and let it out.
Yeah.
You are not broken. You are not late. You are human, and you're living under some pretty immense economic pressure.
And that pressure is exactly what makes this conversation so necessary. We have to look at the staggering reality of it all.
Numbers are they're shocking.
They're absolutely shocking. When we look at the data in the U.S., roughly 6 out of 10 Americans, that's more than half the population, cannot cover a $1,000 emergency with what they have in savings.
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. This is not a niche problem. This is a structural crisis.
I think hearing that statistic is it has to be incredibly validating for people who feel so isolated in this struggle. Mm-hmm. You realize it's not some personal moral failing, or a sign of poor character.
No.
Yeah.
It's a system-wide lack of guidance paired with these escalating costs.
So the shame has to stop. It just has to. Because it's built on this completely false idea that, financial failure is a character defect.
It absolutely is. And the guidance we do get from society is, frankly, useless for someone starting from zero. We're told you should save 10% or you need 3 months of expenses, but nobody teaches you how to actually do that.
Right. How do you do it when you're already stressed?
Or when your income is all over the place, or you're constantly just putting out fires.
Yeah.
Dealing with the unpredictable bills that modern life just throws at you.
And when every single check you get is already in your head allocated to covering last month's bills or just trying to stave off the next crisis. Mm-hmm. The very idea of saving can trigger this intense anxiety.
It does.
People avoid checking their bank statements, not because they're irresponsible, but because they are just so profoundly overwhelmed, emotionally, psychologically.
You're in survival mode.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You just can't build long-term stability from a place of constant panic.
And this brings us to the core shift in mindset we're introducing today. And honestly, it's the most important lesson in this entire deep dive.
Okay.
I want every listener to really internalize this. Saving success is not primarily about discipline or willpower.
Okay, that's a big statement.
It is. It is fundamentally about safety. Emotional safety, financial safety, and so critically, nervous system safety.
Nervous system safety. That's not a term you usually hear in a finance conversation. Explain what you mean by that.
Okay, so think about what happens when you're financially stressed. Your body, your brain, it enters survival mode.
Fight or flight.
Exactly. It's a primal biological response designed to keep you alive today. When your brain perceives a threat, and not having enough money is a massive threat, it shuts down the complex, long-term thinking parts of your brain.
The planning part.
The planning part, your frontal cortex. It takes a backseat to the limbic system, which is just screaming, grab instant comfort now, or address the immediate problem.
So saving, which is a long-term behavior,
it feels impossible. It feels physically impossible when your nervous system is constantly bracing for the next emergency. If your brain doesn't feel safe, it will always push you towards survival behaviors, not saving behaviors.
So we're not asking you to muscle through this fear with discipline.
No.
We're saying we need to establish financial safety nets so your brain can actually stop being terrified.
Exactly. Our mission today is to move you from feeling broke, where you're constantly in that fight or flight mode, to feeling buffered.
Buffered, I like that word.
It's about creating enough financial space so that the next unexpected thing life throws at you, It goes from being a potential catastrophe to just a minor inconvenience.
And that transition.
Yeah.
It's not about getting rich.
Not at all. It's about getting stable.
Okay, so let's really unpack why this is such a universal struggle. I mean, even for people who, on paper, seem to be doing okay financially.
Right.
We have to acknowledge the reality of this economic battlefield before we can even start talking about solutions.
Yeah, you have to understand the why first. We can trace this difficulty back to 3 foundational interlocking barriers.
Okay.
And they combine to create this persistent, just grinding feeling of financial insecurity that forces so many people to live paycheck to paycheck.
What's the first one?
The first barrier is the chasm between the rising cost of living and, frankly, stagnant wages. This is the big structural issue.
Right.
Just look at the figures over the last few decades. Housing, healthcare, childcare, education, even just basic food.
Groceries are insane right now.
They're insane. Their costs have skyrocketed, way outpacing standard inflation. Meanwhile, real wages for the average worker have either flatlined or just barely nudged up. Productivity has soared, but those gains haven't really trickled down into workers' pockets.
So someone who's objectively earning more today than, say, their parents did at the same age can still feel infinitely poorer.
Yes.
Because the goalposts for just the basic necessities have moved so dramatically.
Precisely. They're running on a faster treadmill just to stay in the same place. You know, if 50% of your income is now going just to rent, a 5% raise doesn't really change your stability picture at all. The math just isn't working for most people.
Okay, so that's the big structural one. What's barrier number 2?
The second is the sheer instability and unpredictability of modern life, especially without the safety nets we used to have.
Things just happen.
Things happen. Life hits hard and it hits often. Think about the frequency of major unexpected costs. A $1,500 ER copay, a car transmission repair for $3,000, or a furnace that just dies in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
When you don't have a buffer, every single one of those hits feels catastrophic. It forces you into immediate high-interest debt or just wipes out everything you have.
And that instability just feeds the psychological barrier we were just talking about.
It's a vicious cycle.
If you know that at any moment your entire financial life could be wrecked by a $700 medical bill, how can your brain possibly prioritize putting away $20 for next month?
It can't. It absolutely can't. And that leads directly to the third barrier, a profound lack of financial education, specifically education geared toward people who are stressed or starting from zero. Society just kind of operates on this assumption that financial stability is innate.
Or that you should have learned it in school, which they didn't.
You didn't.
No.
We assume people know how to build stability when most people truly don't, especially if they didn't see healthy money habits modeled growing up, or if they're dealing with the after effects of, financial trauma.
So if we take these 3 barriers, rising costs, constant instability, and zero guidance, the inevitable result, psychologically, is this intense, paralyzing shame.
Yes.
And that brings us right back to that emotional state of feeling broke.
And feeling broke is a condition that, it often has nothing to do with the actual salary bracket. We see people making $100,000, even $150,000 in high cost of living areas.
And they still feel broke.
They genuinely feel broke. They're experiencing what we call lifestyle creep, combined with immense stress, and they feel just as much anxiety as someone earning minimum wage. It's an emotional state. It's rooted in this feeling of fragility, the lack of a safety net, regardless of what the bank balance number actually says.
You mentioned that the stress of that fragility pushes the brain into survival mode.
Right.
Can you give me a concrete example, like a daily decision that's made in survival mode that actively hurts long-term saving?
Oh, a classic one is the I deserve this spending pattern.
Oh, I know this one.
We all do. You're stressed, you're juggling bills, the kids are sick, you just had a near miss with another car on the way home, your nervous system is redlining.
Yeah.
In that moment, the immediate comfort of takeout or a quick online purchase, it feels like an urgent biological necessity.
It's not a want, it's a need.
Your brain tells you it's a need. Your long-term brain, the rational part, knows you should save that $50. But your survival brain says, I need instant dopamine to cope with this stress now.
And you trade long-term stability for that immediate relief.
Every time. And that cycle, when you repeat it daily, it guarantees that the savings account stays at zero.
And then on top of the financial decision comes the guilt.
the crushing guilt and shame.
About making the wrong choice, which just leads you right back into that shame cycle that holds you back.
Shame is truly the enemy of financial progress. I cannot say that enough. It is not a motivator. It is a paralyzer.
But we think it is. We think if we beat ourselves up enough.
We think we can shame ourselves into better behavior, but it does the opposite. When people feel shame about their financial situation, they freeze, they isolate, they avoid the very things they need to do to get better.
Like looking at their bank statements.
Looking at statements, creating a simple budget, even thinking about the future. The emotional pain of just confronting it is too high.
So people tell themselves things like, I'll start when my paycheck is bigger, or
I'll start when I'm out of debt.
I'll start when life finally calms down. But those are they're avoidance statements, aren't they? They're fueled by shame.
They are, because life rarely just calms down on its own. You get trapped in this self-perpetuating loop. The stress leads to impulse spending, which leads to guilt, which causes avoidance, and that avoidance leads to even more stress when the next bill shows up.
So how do you break it?
The breakthrough is not found in punishment or force.
The breakthrough is compassion.
Yes. You break the cycle by understanding that your past spending decisions were probably rooted in a need for emotional safety that you didn't have.
And you move forward by taking small, gentle steps.
You acknowledge the pain, but you stop using shame as a weapon against yourself because it only ever results in paralysis.
Okay, so if we're using compassion to break that cycle, let's go back to our goal. What exactly are we building here? Let's clarify what an emergency fund is and maybe even more importantly, what it isn't.
This is so important for managing expectations. An emergency fund is not extra money. It is not rich people savings. It's not a luxury you build only when life is perfect.
Because if you wait for life to be perfect,
you will never, ever start.
So what is it then?
It is the absolute foundation of stability. It's protection. It's breathing room. It is peace of mind. Its entire function is behavioral and psychological.
Okay.
It's meant to transform what would have been a high-stakes, anxiety-inducing financial disaster into just a minor procedural inconvenience.
That's a huge shift.
It's massive. By lowering your overall anxiety, it lets your brain finally leave survival mode. And that's when you can start making wiser, longer-term decisions about everything else: debt, investing, your career. The goal is to build a buffer that's big enough to let you stop living in constant fear.
So once we really internalize that the goal is safety and stability, not this punitive discipline, we can focus on the starting line. And that starting line is $100. I think we need to spend some real time here, because that first $100 is often the hardest and I think the most important hurdle.
I agree 100%. The first $100 is the most important milestone, bar none. The value of it is not its purchasing power.
Right, it's not what it can buy.
It's the identity shift it represents. You are fundamentally transforming yourself. You're going from someone who wants to save, to someone who can save, to someone who does save.
You're becoming a saver.
You're becoming a saver. And that creates the momentum and the self-trust that makes $500 and then $1,000 feel reachable instead of some impossible fantasy.
It's proof of concept. It's that first piece of tangible evidence that you are capable of accumulation, even if you've struggled for years.
Exactly. And to get that proof of concept without triggering that survival mode anxiety, we have to rely on what I call micro-win strategies.
Micro-wins. I like that.
They're tiny, non-punishing actions specifically designed to rewire your brain for success. We're focusing on lightness, flexibility, and immediate positive feedback.
Okay, let's really drill down on these.
Yeah.
You got 5 key micro-win strategies. Let's get detailed enough so someone can start one of these today.
Okay, strategy 1, the $5 rule. This is a purely behavioral transfer.
What do you mean?
It leverages that immediate gratification impulse we were talking about. Every time you feel the urge for a small, impulsive purchase, that $6 specialty coffee, the quick $12 lunch when you actually brought a sandwich.
The $8 bag of snacks at the gas station?
Yes, you pause.
What?
And instead of buying it, you immediately open your banking app and transfer $5 to your separate savings buffer.
But what about the guilt? What if I'm stressed and I just buy the coffee anyway? Does that mean I failed?
No. And that's the critical part of the compassionate approach. If you buy the coffee, you just acknowledge it, you move on, and you try the $5 transfer next time. The rule isn't don't buy coffee. The rule is try to redirect the energy.
Okay.
If you succeed even twice a week, that's $10 that just, it wouldn't have been there before. The success is in the redirection. not perfect deprivation. It adds up shockingly fast.
Okay, I like that one. What's strategy 2?
Strategy 2, the 7-day no-spend reset. And I want to emphasize 7 days, not 30.
Why not 30?
Because a month of extreme restriction almost always leads to burnout, self-sabotage, and then this emotional spending spree right after it ends.
Right, the pendulum swings the other way.
Exactly. A 7-day reset just means you only buy absolute non-negotiable essentials.
Yeah.
Rent, utilities, prescriptions, and pre-planned groceries. You just avoid restaurants, entertainment, those gas station snacks, clothes for 1 week.
And what makes 7 days so effective psychologically?
It's short enough that the finish line is always in sight. You can do almost anything for 7 days. It doesn't feel like a permanent lifestyle change. It just feels like a temporary challenge.
And people save money doing this.
Most people report saving somewhere between $40 and $100 in that 1 week, just by cutting out the friction spending and the impulse buys. It's a huge confidence builder because it shows you where your money is really going.
Wow. Okay. Strategy 3.
Strategy 3. Clear one subscription. Go look at your bank statement for recurring charges. Everyone has at least one streaming service, or an app, or a monthly box they barely use or completely forgot about.
Guilty.
Find just one. Maybe it's that $14.99 streaming platform you only watch one show on, or the $9.99 fitness app you haven't opened in 6 months. Cancel it immediately.
And then what?
Then you immediately set up a recurring transfer for that same amount, that $10 or $15 a month, straight into your buffer.
So that's pure automation. Once you make the decision, the money just keeps flowing into savings without any more effort.
Exactly. It's recurring, invisible income that goes straight to your goal.
Okay, number 4.
Strategy 4. Sell one unused item. This one is all about the immediate cash injection and that dopamine hit of a quick win. Look around your home. Old electronics, kitchen gadgets still in the box, designer clothes you haven't worn in a year. List one item on a marketplace app or on social media. Selling one thing for $20, $50, even $75 gives you an immediate, tangible success story. It builds confidence and gives you a lump sum to boost you toward that $100 goal.
So we're basically converting latent value, just stuff sitting around, into active safety.
That's a perfect way to put it. And finally, strategy 5. Set up a $5 daily auto transfer for 1 week.
A daily one.
Just for 1 week. This is about establishing the habit, not about the amount. Commit to $5 a day, automatically moving from checking to savings for just 7 days.
So it's $35.
A minimal $35 investment. But what it does is it establishes the mechanical habit of saving without feeling painful. You create the routine. Once that $35 lands, you feel successful, and then you can easily decide to repeat it for another week if you feel safe enough.
All of these strategies, they feel so light and achievable. They're so far removed from that punitive / everything from your life advice we always hear.
That's the entire point. We are hacking behavior, not punishing your lifestyle. And when that first $100 hits the account, the shift in your nervous system is genuine. It's measurable.
You have a shield.
You have a small shield. You might start breathing a little differently. You might sleep better. You have proof that you are capable of protecting yourself, and that changes everything about how you think about your money decisions going forward.
Okay, so the $100 barrier is broken. You've proven to yourself you can save, and you've had that first taste of relief. Now, we need to translate that initial momentum into sustained consistency to reach the $500 mark.
Great.
This is where the initial, euphoria can wear off, and the real work of building a habit begins.
That's a great observation. This phase is less about the quick wins and more about establishing a rhythm. We have to prioritize flexibility over speed because we know that consistency is the only thing that sustains long-term habits.
Okay, so what's the first step for consistency?
Step 1 for consistency. Automate a small weekly contribution. The key word here is automation. The amount is secondary. It could be $5, $10, $15, whatever feels absolutely safe and non-threatening.
And you said weekly. Why weekly instead of monthly?
Because if you wait until the end of the month, for most people, the money is just gone. Weekly transfers spread out the burden, and they integrate more smoothly with how most people get paid and manage their cash flow.
So we're making saving the default action, and then we can always adjust the amount later when we feel safer.
Exactly. Which leads to step 2, separate the savings. This is completely non-negotiable for anyone who struggles with impulse spending.
So not in your regular checking account.
Definitely not. The money has to be in a different account, ideally at a totally different bank, or at the very least in an untouchable sub-account. The rule is simple. Out of sight equals out of temptation.
Because If it's too easy to get to,
It just becomes an extension of your checking account, and it will disappear during the next moment of stress.
I think we need to talk more about that physical separation later when we discuss where to actually keep the buffer.
Absolutely. We'll get into the specifics of that.
For now, let's stick to getting the money in there.
Okay. Step 3. Capture found money. This is powerful psychological fuel. Found money is anything that wasn't part of your regular budget. A tax refund, a small holiday bonus, a class action check you forgot about,
A cash gift for your birthday.
a cash gift, an unexpected reimbursement, earnings from a side gig, or some overtime pay.
And you don't have to save all of it, right?
Mhm.
Because that feels restrictive.
Exactly. You just allocate a meaningful percentage, even just 20% toward the buffer. Found money often feels like free money, so it's psychologically easier for your brain to categorize it as savings rather than as essential spending money that you're sacrificing.
So if you get a $500 tax refund, you immediately move 100 of it to savings.
Yes, and your brain registers that as a bonus, not a sacrifice.
Okay. Step 4 is about reducing friction spending. We know frictionless spending, digital wallets, saved credit cards, it just destroys savings. How do we deliberately add friction back in without making life impossible?
We implement small speed bumps. For example, remove your saved credit card info from major online retailers like Amazon.
Oh, that's a good one.
When you have to get up, walk to your wallet, find the card, and manually type in all 16 digits, that 10-second process gives your prefrontal cortex just enough time to engage and ask, do I really need this right now?
You slow yourself down.
You slow yourself down, turn off Apple Pay or Google Pay notifications that encourage immediate spending. Use cash for non-essential things because handing over physical paper actually feels more painful to our brains than swiping a plastic card. It kills impulse buying.
Okay, what's step 5?
Step 5 is for listeners with variable or chaotic income. It's the cash gap formula.
Okay.
We need to move beyond rigid traditional budgeting. You simply calculate your total income minus your absolute essential expenses. That's rent, utilities, basic food, minimum debt payments, whatever inconsistent amount is left over, that's your buffer fuel.
But how do people with chaotic income manage that when they don't know what their income will be from week to week?
That's why we use the words gently and inconsistently. If you have a good week, maybe you allocate $50 of that gap. If you have a bad week, you allocate $0. The goal is just to capture the surplus when it exists, instead of trying to force a fixed contribution that you can't meet when your income drops. It's flexible, forgiving, and it acknowledges reality.
And when you finally hit that $500 milestone, what's the key psychological difference between having $100 and having $500?
$100 is about identity. It's proof that you can save. $500 is about self-trust and foundational security. $500 can handle most deductible copays, or a sudden appliance replacement, or a minor car repair.
So you're much less likely to have to put a basic emergency on a high-interest credit card.
Right. You've moved from a state of constant anxiety to one of tangible resilience.
Okay, so now we take the leap. From $500 to $1,000, the universally acknowledged minimum threshold for true stability.
A big one.
This is the point where the fund can cover the average car transmission repair or a broken refrigerator. But this phase requires resilience, doesn't it?
Right.
The effort level goes up, but the novelty starts to wear off.
That's right. And this phase also brings up a really critical conflict we have to address for our listeners,
Which is,
the debt versus savings dilemma. If you have, say, $5,000 in high-interest credit card debt, you might feel like every single dollar you have should go toward that debt, not toward a $1,000 buffer.
that's a very real point of friction. I mean, mathematically, it often makes more sense to pay off the 25% APR debt first.
Mathematically, yes.
So how do we justify prioritizing the $1,000 buffer?
We justify it because the first $1,000 is an emotional, psychological, and behavioral priority, not a strictly mathematical one.
Explain that.
If you put all your extra money toward that high-interest debt, but then an emergency hits and you have $0 buffer, what happens?
You put the emergency right back on the high-interest card.
Exactly. You wipe out all your progress, and you probably incur even more interest. The $1,000 buffer acts as a defensive perimeter. It stops the bleeding. It stabilizes your nervous system, which is crucial for the long-term focus you need to actually tackle that major debt later.
So buying stability.
You're buying stability, which in the short term is worth more than the few dollars of interest you might pay on that debt.
Okay, so what are the strategies to get to that $1,000 mark?
Strategy 1 is to stay flexible. This is so crucial for managing that loss of novelty. You have to accept that saving is going to be non-linear. You'll have $100 months and you'll have $0 months. If you only put $20 in one month, that is still a success.
Persistence over perfection.
Persistence matters far more than the size of the contribution. Strategy 2, expect setbacks.
This is a big one.
We have to reframe what a withdrawal means. An emergency will happen. It might be when you have $700 saved and you have to pull out $300 for a vet bill.
And that feels like failure.
It feels like failure, but it's not. It is evidence that the system is working exactly as intended. You use the buffer instead of going into debt. The success is in the fact that you immediately started rebuilding that $300, not in the perfection of never touching the money.
That reframing is essential. It stops you from just giving up the first time you have to use the fund.
Precisely. Strategy 3, create a weekly money moment. Dedicate 5 minutes, just 5 dedicated, non-dreadful minutes each week to look at your growth.
And not your whole financial picture, right? Just the savings.
Just the savings buffer. Celebrate the growth no matter how small. Awareness builds reinforcement and it reduces that avoidance tendency. You're training your brain to associate looking at your money with positive reinforcement instead of fear.
Okay. Strategy 4.
Strategy 4, choose a temporary upgrade freeze. This is about hyperfocus. We are not advocating for long-term deprivation, but you can implement a 90-day freeze on all non-essential lifestyle upgrades. New clothes, new gadgets, new streaming services, new expensive hobbies, until that $1,000 goal is met.
A 90-day sacrifice feels manageable, especially when it's tied to such a powerful goal like $1,000 in the bank.
It does. It gives you a clear, achievable end date and lets you channel that money effectively. And strategy 5, add extreme friction to spending triggers.
So we're going beyond just removing the save card on Amazon.
We're bringing in the heavy artillery now. Delete payment apps like PayPal or Venmo from your phone if you primarily use them for impulse shopping. Remove your saved card details from all shopping sites. Turn off the buy now, pay later services completely. They are debt traps disguised as convenience.
And the social media piece.
Yes. Aggressively unfollow stores and influencers on social media whose content causes you to spend. Be ruthless about curating your feed for your financial well-being.
The moment spending becomes a hassle, saving becomes the path of least resistance. And when you hit that $1,000, you're functionally changing your relationship with the world.
You are. The piece of that $1,000 is transformative. It moves you out of that constant fear response. It lets you make decisions about job changes or education or moving without that immediate paralyzing dread that comes with having zero savings. It signifies, I can handle life again.
$1,000 is massive stability.
Yeah.
It really is. But the ultimate goal for resilience is a 1 to 3 month buffer, enough to cover a job loss or a long-term illness.
Yeah.
That figure can feel like Mount Everest to someone who just celebrated hitting 1,000.
Yeah.
So how do we approach this much larger goal gently and structurally?
We approach it with predictability and incremental scaling. We have to avoid the psychological pressure of trying to tackle the whole mountain at once.
Okay, so step 1.
Step 1, calculate your baseline, or what I call your survival number.
Okay.
This is not your full comprehensive spending budget, which can be really emotionally overwhelming to look at. This is the absolute minimum you need to survive for 1 month.
So just the essentials.
Just the essentials.
Yeah.
Rent, core utilities, basic food, transportation, insurance, and minimum debt payments. When you calculate this number, it's often smaller and way less intimidating than you fear, which makes the overall goal feel much more concrete.
So if my total monthly expenses are, say, $4,500, my survival number might only be $2,800.
Exactly, and that suddenly makes the 3-month target $8,400 instead of $13,500. It feels more manageable.
Okay, that makes sense. What's step 2?
Step 2, create a 12-week ramp method. This is a structured way to avoid burnout. Instead of saying, I need to save $5,000 this year, which feels huge, you break the goal into 3-month cycles of small, predictable increases. For example, if your survival number is $3,000 and you want to save that in a year, you need about $60 a week.
Right.
The 12-week ramp might mean you aim for $40 a week for the first 12 weeks, then $50 for the second 12 weeks, and so on. It manages the effort level and prevents that pressure of trying to build it all at once.
I like that. It's gradual.
It is. Step 3, don't sacrifice joy, adjust it.
Oh, this is important.
It's critical. People burn out and binge spend when they eliminate all pleasure from their budget. We are not advocating for a life of monastic discipline. Instead of eliminating all enjoyable expenses, just reduce their frequency.
So go out for dinner once a month instead of once a week.
Exactly. Or buy the expensive coffee once a week as a treat instead of every day. This maintains balance, it acknowledges our need for emotional respite, and it prevents that emotional backlash that so often destroys savings efforts halfway through.
That distinction between elimination and adjustment is so vital for sustainability.
It truly is. Step 4. Follow the rule of thirds for any unexpected money.
Okay, we talked about found money before.
Right, so when you get a big check or a large cash gift, don't allow yourself to mentally spend it all at once. Split it into 3 parts. 1/3 goes straight to the buffer, 1/3 goes to debt or essential bills, and 1/3 is for living or fun.
So you get to enjoy some of it.
You get to enjoy some of it. This maintains balance, it accelerates your buffer growth, and it reduces the guilt that often comes with spending found money on yourself.
Okay, and step 5.
And step 5, which is deeply psychological. Expect emotional resistance.
What do you mean by that?
This is a strange phenomenon. Once you start achieving stability, especially if you grew up in financial chaos, your brain can actually fight back.
Why?
Because stability feels foreign and unfamiliar, and our brains tend to prefer familiar discomfort over unfamiliar safety. You might feel these weird urges to sabotage the buffer or create drama.
That's fascinating.
You have to recognize that this emotional resistance is just your brain adjusting to a new, safer identity. You're becoming the person who handles life, and sometimes that internal shift feels scary, even when it's positive.
Okay, this is the really practical section. We've built this precious safety net, and now the priority shifts completely to protection.
Yes.
Where do we keep it, and what are the rules to protect the money from ourselves, especially in a moment of panic?
The location of the buffer is a behavioral tool. The rule is simple and powerful. The fund must be easy to access in a true emergency, but it must be not easy to touch for an impulse or comfort spend.
Okay, so what's the ideal location?
The ideal location is a separate high-yield savings account, or HYSA.
And it has to be FDIC insured.
Absolutely. At a reputable bank. For anyone who's unfamiliar, a high-yield savings account is just a standard savings account that pays a significantly higher interest rate than what you'd get at a typical brick-and-mortar bank.
So your money is working for you a little bit.
It's stable, it's secure, and it's earning a little bit of interest, which provides great positive reinforcement.
And what's the most important behavioral hurdle we can put in place with the location?
Ideally, the HYSA should be at a different bank than your primary checking account. This is the crucial barrier.
Why is that so important?
If you have to log into a totally separate system and then wait a mandatory 24 or 48 hours for an electronic transfer to go through, and you're not tempted by seeing the fund balance every single time you check your checking account, that friction is usually enough to stop an emotional, non-emergency withdrawal.
Impulse spending thrives on speed.
And friction kills impulse.
Where should listeners absolutely not keep this fund?
Okay. Do not keep it in cash at home. It's vulnerable to theft, loss, fire. Do not keep it in stocks, bonds, or crypto.
Why not?
Because emergencies demand liquidity and stability, not market volatility. You can't have your emergency fund drop by 20% the day your car breaks down. And critically, do not keep it in your main checking account.
Because you'll just spend it.
Your brain treats that balance as fungible spending money, and you will accidentally spend it on non-emergencies. It's almost guaranteed.
Okay, let's establish the buffer safety rules. This is like the governance structure for the fund.
Yes. Rule 1, define emergencies in writing. You have to remove all ambiguity. List exactly what this fund is for.
Like what?
Medical bills, especially deductibles and copays. Major car or home repairs that threaten your safety or your ability to get to work. Job loss, once you have that 1-3-month buffer. Utility crises, and urgent, unplanned travel, like for a family death. Write it down and keep it somewhere you can see it.
Okay, and rule 2 is the opposite of that.
Rule 2, define non-emergencies. Be explicit about what does not count. Sales, vacations, concert tickets, upgrading your phone, impulse gadgets, holiday shopping. If you want to save for those things, that's great. Create a separate sinking fund, but protect the buffer.
That clarity prevents that self-justification that happens when you're in a panic.
Exactly. Rule 3, add a 24-hour waiting period. This is the single most effective behavioral technique.
How does it work?
If you perceive an emergency and you feel this desperate need to withdraw the money, you impose a mandatory 24-hour waiting period on yourself. Set a timer on your phone. If, after 24 hours, the crisis still feels urgent and it falls under Rule 1, then it's legitimate.
And if it doesn't?
If the urgency has evaporated, it was likely an impulse based on anxiety, not a true emergency.
That 24-hour period forces your rational brain to get back online.
It does. Rule 4, have a mini escape fund. This acknowledges that we're human. We need relief sometimes. It's a tiny, separate pot of money, maybe just $10 or $20 in your checking account, labeled emotional spend, specifically for those moments when you desperately need some retail therapy or comfort spending. It's a pressure valve. It allows you to indulge the impulse without sabotaging your main buffer.
And the final rule.
And Rule 5, tell one trusted person. This is your accountability tool. Share your $1,000 goal and your buffer safety rules with one trusted individual. When a panic withdrawal feels imminent, you call that person first.
They don't have to judge you.
No, they just have to ask the clarifying questions. Does this fall under Rule 1, and have you waited 24 hours? That external validation can break the emotional isolation that drives so many rash financial decisions.
These rules, they're the structure that turns chaotic saving into calm, reliable stability. The emergency fund is no longer just money. It's a sacred tool of protection.
So before we wrap this deep dive, just take a moment. You can close your eyes if you can, and just contrast the two realities we've talked about today. Imagine that panic spiral of having $0. The instant sharp sting of a car breaking down, the anxiety spiral, the sleepless nights, the need to immediately ask someone for help or go deeper into high-interest debt. That's fear.
No. Imagine opening your bank app and seeing that small buffer. $500, $1,000, maybe even 3 months of expenses.
Enough to slow your heartbeat.
Enough to say, this is solvable. I can handle this. Imagine your refrigerator breaks down and you arrange for the replacement without spiraling into debt.
You become the version of yourself who no longer fears the next inevitable emergency.
Because you have space, and you built that space yourself, gently and with compassion.
And that transformation is entirely within your reach. It starts today. Not with guilt, but with your first small step, your first $5 transfer, your first decision to choose safety over fear.
So let's review the 5 essential truths we covered today for you to carry forward with you.
Truth 1, you don't need a massive salary or intense discipline to start saving. You need a system. And that system has to prioritize flexibility and automation.
Truth 2, your first $100 is not a small achievement. It is a breakthrough moment in your identity that proves you are capable of accumulation.
Truth 3, emergency funds are not about building wealth. They are entirely about psychological and nervous system safety.
Truth 4, you are not behind everyone else. You are simply beginning your journey now, and that is perfectly okay.
And truth 5, the buffer profoundly changes how you feel about life because it changes your relationship with immediate, paralyzing financial fear.
Stability is a learned behavior. It's not an inherited trait. So here's the provocative thought for you to mull over this week. If the small buffer you build today eliminates 80% of your daily financial worry, how much faster and more effectively could you reach your bigger goals? Major debt payoff, aggressive investing, career advancement, once you stop spending all that mental and emotional energy just worrying about the next small emergency.
The future becomes safer the moment you begin.